Om Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhutaguhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarvavide Namaha. We are all the way up to verse 221. The discussion that is going on here is with this Prasankhyanavadi, who believes that merely knowing that I am Brahman is not enough, that you need to do something like Prasankhyanam, repeating that, in order to support or strengthen that knowledge to help you, give you liberation. Meaning that knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, in itself is not enough. It must be complemented by this repetition, Aham Brahma, called Prasankhyanam. Prasankhyanam is a mental repetition, which is a mental action, which also requires a karta, sense of kartrutvam, which is a karman that requires sense of kartrutvam. So that's a discussion that is going on here, whether is this compatible? This act of repeating Aham Brahmasmi, which is a karma, which requires a sense of kartrutvam, is it compatible to this knowledge? So verse 209 says, Siddho mokshahmityevam jnatvatmanam bhavedadi chikirshuhu. So what Vedanta teaches is Siddho mokshuham. I am already moksha, I am already free, Siddha already accomplished. That means that not I have become liberated, I always was liberated. This is what Vedanta teaches. And that's what the knowledge of a wise person is. Evam jnatva atmanam bhavedadi chikirshuhu. So atmanam jnatva, that way, knowing the self that I am already liberated, bhavedadi chikirshuhu, still that is in him. Chikirshu, so kartam ichha, desire to do something. That is, samudhatma shastram cha udghatayatyapi. So having known that I am mukta, liberated, which means nothing remains to be done. And then this moksha is still accompanied with this desire to do something such as repeating this mantra. They are not compatible, so if you believe that still remains to be done, samudhatma shastram cha udghatayatyapi. He is the one who in fact destroys the shastra. He is a mudhatma, a deluded person, and doesn't recognize what it is that shastra is teaching. Ni siddhasya kartavyam. One is siddha or accomplished or mukta, na kartavyam. There cannot be something that has to be done. Kartavya means something that has to be done. Karma is doing something. Doing something is one thing, but this notion that I have to do something is different. It is that notion that cannot coexist with the knowledge that I am liberated. Karma can coexist, but the notion that I have to do something, there is kartavya, something to be done, now that cannot coexist with the fact that I am already free. Nai siddhasya kartavyam sakaryasya jan siddhata. When you siddha or accomplished, nothing remains to be done, and if something remains to be done, he is not an accomplished person. Ubhaya alambanam kurvan natmanam anchayatyapi. Ubhaya alambanam kurvan, that is liberated also and still remains something to be done. That way he is only deluded himself. So Purvapakshi says, Siddha moksha tvam iti eva etat vastumatram padarshate. And Upanishad says, Siddha moksha tvam iti. So you are moksha, you are ever free, liberated, siddha, which is ever accomplished. So Purvapakshi says, etad vastumatram pradarshate, that only reflects something, some existing fact about you, like saying that you have two lungs. You are liberated. That's your nature. Shrutuhu tathato vijnane. That freedom is my nature. When you know that, you must do something in order to accomplish that. Pravritti syat katham naiti, katham nuiti. Then having known that I am liberated, there should be an activity to gain that knowledge, should it not be? So, still there is a scope for some activity, even when you are told that you are moksha, nitya siddha moksha. Karta dukhyaham asmi iti pratyakshana anubhuvate. Purvapakshi says that we experience that I am karta, a doer, an agent of action, dukhi, I am unhappy. Iti pratyakshana anubhuvate, this is something that we experience as an immediate reality about ourselves. Karta dukhi cha ma bhum iti yatno bhavet tatah. So naturally there is now an impulse to do something so that I became free from this notion of kartrutvam, dukkhitvam. That I don't want to be karta. I do not want to be dukhi. So that is the impulse that arises in me, and that's what makes me do something. Tad vijnana yuktyadi kartavyam srutirabhravid. So over and above Shravanam that you are Brahman, so Mananam, which is an action, mental action, which when something needs to be done, so Tad Vijnana, merely being told that you are Brahman is not enough, it further requires Mananam, this internal reflection, internal deliberation. Yuktyadi kartavyam shruti abraved. Shruti says that yuktyadi kartavyam. That's, you would apply the yukti, reason, to firm up that knowledge. Kartrutvadi anuvadena siddhatva anubhavayatu. Kartrutvadi sattvam, when it says tattvamasi, the tvam idi kartrutvam. You are Brahman. Who is you? The karta. kartu anudya vastugatyatvam siddha moksha brahmaswaruposi. You, the karta, is in fact the siddha moksha swarupa. You are of the nature of moksha, which is already accomplished. Atata jnana yatasva. So, even though there is no verb of enjoyment in saying tattvamasi, but then, what is tvam? Tvam is you. Who is you? The karta which you think you are. So you are the karta, you are Brahman. And therefore, for knowing that you are Brahman, right now you have false knowledge about yourself, you are karta. To know that you are Brahman, you do something. So even though there is no verb of enjoyment, this very statement involves or presupposes, requires enjoyment, requires action. Nayam kalpana shruti anusarene. He says, no, this is the kalpana, not in keeping the spirit of the shruti. Nirdukho niskriyo kamaha siddho moksha mityapi guritvaiva viruddhartham adadyat kasameva saha. Nirdukha niskriya akamaha siddha moksha ahamityapi gruhitva. Aham nirdukha, devoid of dukkha, devoid of kriya, devoid of desire, devoid of, and moksha I am. Vruddhartham kasamevadadyat. Then how can he again take up karma which requires the idea of kartrutva, that I have to do something? How can it be when he knows that I am already free or liberated? Then the Purva Pakshi says, Sakamaha, Sakriya, Asiddha iti me anubhava katham. If I am Nishkama, I am Niskriya, I am eva Siddha, then how come my experience is that Sakamaha, I find myself desiring, Sakriya, I find myself doing things, Asiddha, I feel that I am incomplete, I have not yet accomplished my goal. Iti me anubhava katham. How come I have anubhava or experience which is quite contrary to my essential nature? How do I explain that? If ananda is my nature, then how do I experience dukkhiyam? Ato me viparitasya tadbhavan vaktumarhati. How can I have an experience quite contrary to what my true nature is? That's what you need to explain. So then Vedanta ihaiva ghatate prashna. This prashna is quite appropriate. That if moksha is my nature, how can I feel bound? If akartrutva is my nature, how do I, find myself karta or doer? Ihaiva ghatate prashna. That prashna is quite appropriate. The muktatva anubhute. How can I be liberated? That is not the question. That's your nature. The question can be when you feel something contrary to your nature, then there can be question. How can I feel something contrary to nature? How can I be liberated? That's your nature. There cannot be question there. Pramananvedya sotrartha prashnamarhati. Pramanam is Upanishad Vakya says that you are Brahman. So, if you feel that you are limited, that your experience is contrary to what Pramanam says, then the question can be there. Question cannot be, how can I be liberated? Because that's what Upanishad says. How can I be bound? That is an appropriate question, because that contradicts the Pramanam. Aham nirmukta ityeva sasityanyamanaja pratyakshabhasanyatva dukkhitvam prashnamarhati. Katham dukhi, that is prashnamarhati, that is what actually deserves a question. That's what you should ask. So, I experience I am dukhi, how can I be sukhi? That's not the question. When Upanishad with Pramanam says I am sukha is my swarupa, then anyamanajaha aham dukhi is a conclusion based on what? Not on Pramanam. Based on your so-called experience or inference. Pratyakshabhasajanyatvat. Everybody feels that I know that I am limited. On the strength of that, how can you say that I am limitless? Here the teacher says, the Upanishad says that you are limitless. So you explain to yourself how can you be limited. This is how Vedantin always asks question. How can I be Brahman? Don't ask that question. How can I be Jiva? So dukkitvam prashnamarhati. How can I be dukhi? That deserves a question. Now how can I be liberated? Because that's what Upanishad says. Idanim shishyakankshavashenavi karikalpanam na ghatate. Upanishad is a tradition of teaching, which is the nature of dialogue between the teacher and the disciple, where the teacher is communicating what it is that the student wants to know. Shishya akanksha vashenapari, a shishya comes, bring an akanksha with him, and the Guru then ultimately satisfies that. Karikalpanam na ghatate. Prushtam akankshitam vacham. Prushtam akankshitam vacham dukkhabhava abhipsitam. So whatever it is that the disciple wants to know, this is what you have to tell them. Dukkhabhava abhipsitam. How can I become free from dukkha? That is his question. And that's what you have to answer. So dukkha bhava is moksha rupam, brahma rupam, moksha lakshanam. That is, so he wants to know how can I be free? Then that you are Brahman which is ever free from dukkha. This is what you have to communicate. So Shishya Prashna is actually stated here. Katham hidam nivarteta dukkham sarvatmana mama. That's what the Shishya comes and says. Katham idam dukkham sarvatmana mama nivarteta. How can I become free from dukkha in every aspect? How can I totally become free from dukkha? Because nobody wants an iota of dukkha. And therefore the disciple totally wants to become free from dukkha. Iti prashnanurupam yadvacham dukkha nivartakam. So it is appropriate for the teacher to say something that will eliminate that dukkha. So yad dukkha nivartakam tadvachyam prashnanurupam. Prashna is how can I become free from dukkha? And that's what the teacher has to say. By saying that, by making him see that sukha or ananda is a nature. Shrutehe svatmani nashinka pramanye sati vidyate tasmat atmaviktatvam pratyayeti tadvachaha. Shrutehe svatasiddhe pramanye sati Bhaktavyam tat tathartham syad virodhe sati kenachita. 3 lines in the verse. Shrutehe svatmani pramanye sati. Svatasiddhe pramanye sati. See, pramana always reveals what is. Any pramana such as organs of perception, they reveal what is. Pramanam means means of knowledge, does not produce anything. So Shruti also reveals what is. Svatmani saprame nashanka vidyate. Therefore, Shruti says that you are mukta, then there is no doubt about the fact that I am mukta. Then question is, how do I feel I am bound? And then explore that, then you will get rid of that bondage. Tasmat atmamuktatvam pratyayati tadvachah. Tasmat muktatva pratyayamriti karanatvam bhavadvati yati. Therefore, Shruti becomes the cause for creating in me pratyaya, that muktoham, that pratyaya, that cognition, that conviction to be created in me, for that Shruti becomes the means. Vakyasya uktartha anubhahetutam vihaya gatyantaram nasti anubhamargatam iti aha. Vakyasya uktartha anubhava hetutam vihaya. So Vakya is hetu. Vakya is base hetu, the reason for uktartha anubhava. No experience that I am mukta. For that anubhava, Vakya is the reason, cause, means. Tad vihaya means Vakya reveals a reality, that you are liberated. And therefore, so uktas anubhava, so that is all that Vakya needs to do, is to create in you a conviction that you are liberated, mukta, you already are mukta. So giving up that simple thing, gatyantaram, to imagine that Vakya makes you do something. Vakya reveals a reality about you, that's all a Vakya can do. When there is no verb of injunction, then this is what Vakya only reveals the fact. So instead of that, imagine that no, that Vakya wants you to do something. So gatyantaram nastena margamiti. To interpret that this Vakya is meant to enjoin some action such as prasankhyanam, it is just that cannot come in any way. That doesn't make any sense at all. So verse 221 said, let us read that. Itonyo nubhavah kaschita atmano no papadyate avijñātam vijānatāṃ vijñātārati me śrutihi. Atmana itah anya anubhava no papadyate. That Atma, the self, I am ever liberated. Other than that, no other anubhava can take place. That's the nature of Atma. So I am dukhi, I am limited, I am bound. That anubhava cannot be. Once you know the true nature of Atma, avijñātam vijānatāṃ, those who think that know Atma, they do not know. Vijñātāram kena vijaniyāt. The Vijñāta cannot be object of knowledge. See, some people claim that I know Atma, then they don't really know. And therefore, this is, other than this, that I am liberated, there can be no other kind of experience for Atma. Shruti virodhat iti. Now continue verse 222. Yaduktam Purvapakshina Prak. The Purvapakshi had said much earlier in the verse 16 of this chapter. Charyano shastra samvedya syadinishtam tatha satiti. Charyano shastra samvedya syad. Charya means any kind of an action. The shastra samvedya sa anishtam tatha sati. If you go back all the way to page 328 or verse 16, whatever be in your book. Huh? 250? Nirdikho tita deheshu kritabhavo namiyate. Charyano shastra samvedya sadhanishtam tatha sati. Vakyada shravanamatrat kasya nirdukho drishyate shruti puranadav. You find that simply by listening to Vakya, one becomes free. Sa atita deheshu kritabhava anusthita prasankhyan anumiyate. Then he must have done this prasankhyan earlier in the earlier births. Kincha sakrit vijnata vakyartasya anubhigave na asmagam charya paramhamsa acharamachara ashasam vedya syat. So then we are paramhamsa ashrama, and if we are that without the consent of the Shruti, then that the ashrama paramhamsa would be shastra vihita na syat. Then our conduct as paramhamsa would not have the sanction of the Shruti. Tasa anishtam syat, and then that would not be right. Paramhamsa parivradikacharya, no, that would not be shastra sammitam. Yatyashrama charya parityagepi arudapatita nabhaved anishta prasangaha. Then you are not conducting yourself in keeping with the Paramahamsa ashrama, and still you are not doing anything wrong, so that would be a contradiction. Charyano shasam vedya sadhanishtam tatha sati. The Paramahamsa that vacha, the ashrama, would then shastra samvedya nasyat. In that case, it will be anishta, that you are doing something which is not in keeping with what the Shastra has said, or what the Shastra means. So verse 222 says, Tvam padartha vivekaya sannyasa sarva karmanam sadhanatvam vrajatyevam shanto dantanushasanaat. Shanto danta anushasanaat. The Tika says Shantaha dantaha uparataha titikshu samahito bhutva atmani atmanam pashyati iti shrutehe. From the Bhudaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.23. Shantaha dantaha uparataha titikshu. Why Shantaha, tranquil. Dantaha, discipline, having control over the sense organs and mind. Uparataha, who is withdrawn from all activities. Here that means sannyasa. Titikshuhu, ready to suffer any kind of pain that comes in the way. Samahita, that alone can become samahita, become single-pointed, focused upon Brahman, the self. Atmaniva atmanam pashyati. So he has the requisite state of mind where he can see his own self in his own self, meaning that in his mind he can see himself as Brahman when the mind is ready with these qualifications. Iti Shrutehe Uparita Shabda Uparati Shabda Nirdishtasya Sannyasasya Shanta Uparataha. So Uparata is interpreted as sannyasa. Uparata means one who is withdrawn. Meaning withdrawn from all duties, all activity, duties basically. That means that refers to sannyasa. Uparati shabda nishdishtasya sannyasasya. So Uparati is interpreted by Vedanta as sannyasa. Because Shanta means tranquil in mind, and Uparata also means one who is withdrawn or inward looking, so there is no difference. Therefore, Uparati word is interpreted as generally withdrawal from all activities, and that is sannyasa. That's how the interpretation is. So all these Shantaha, Dantaha, Uparataha, Titikshuhu, Shraddhavetva Bhutva, Atmaneva Atmanam Pashyati. He sees his self, in his own self, having gained these qualifications. This Shrutehe, Upadi Shabda Nirdishtasya, Sannyasatya, Atmagnam Sadhanatvat. So Shanti, Danti, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, all of these are stated as means of knowledge. So Uparati also is presented there as a means of knowledge, as a requirement for knowledge. Sannyasasya atmajnanam prati sadhanatva avagamat. So Vedanta interpret the word Uparati as sannyasa. So this statement here is presented as an evidence that Shruti wants you to take sannyasa from all their duties. So then only you can devote yourself for shravanam, mananam, whatever is required to pursue the knowledge. Sannyasasya atmajnanam prati sadhanatva avagamat. So from this statement, we learn, we understand that sannyasa is sadhanam, the means of atmajnanam. न तस्य अशास्त्र संवेद्यतया परित्याग प्रसंग इत्यर्थः न तस्य अशास्त्र संवेद्यतया. So you cannot discard the sannyasa with the argument that it is not stated in the scripture. It is stated here. You see, the Vedanta has a hard time finding a statement of sannyasa. Nowhere the idea of sannyasa is there, that other than in some minor Upanishads. But in no major Upanishad or the Bhagavad Gita, sannyasa is stated directly that you must renounce all your actions, etc. So they take these kind of sentences. Then Uparati means sannyasa, and that's how sannyasa is somehow brought into the whole picture. And so, Uparati Shabda Nirdishtasya Sannyasasya Atmajnanam Prati Sadhanatva Gamat Shantaha Dantaha Uparataha. Who enjoys Uparati is very clear that Uparati means sannyasa according to them. So therefore, natasya ashastra samvedyataya parityagaha. Purva Pakshi says sannyasa is not enjoined anywhere. Where do you get the statement is enjoying sannyasa? Here is a statement Vedanta says, where Uparati means sannyasa, therefore sannyasa enjoined here as a means of knowledge. So tasya ashastra samvedyataya. Therefore, that it is not enjoined by the Shastra, you cannot discard sannyasa that it is because you say that it is not enjoined by Shastra. Here is the Shastra, whereby by the word uparati, what is meant is sannyasa. तथा च वाक्यार्थ ज्ञानस्य पदार्थ ज्ञान पूर्वकत्वात् पदार्थ अवधारण पर्यन्तमेव आश्रम धर्माणां विदित अनुष्ठानम् ततः परं तु वाक्याद् अवगत ब्रह्मात्म तत्त्वस्य मयेदमस्मि कर्तव्यम् इति. तथा च to illustrate वाक्यार्थ ज्ञानस्य पदार्थ ज्ञान पूर्वकत्वात्. वाक्य तत्वमसि aham brahmasmi, that vakya, knowledge of the vakya requires that the aspirant should have knowledge of the words which in fact make up the vakya. You must know what is tat, what is tvam, what is asi, then you know what is tattvamasi. Aham brahmasmi, the meaning of aham must be known, meaning of brahma must be known to know that aham brahmasmi. So any vakya, Vakya that are being uttered right now also, if you know the words which form the Vakya, then only the Vakyas can be understood. तथा च वाक्यार्थ ज्ञानस्य पदार्थ ज्ञान पूर्वकत्वात्. वाक्यार्थ ज्ञानम, the knowledge of Vakya must necessarily be preceded by knowledge of words which comprise the Vakya. पदार्थ अवधारण पर्यंतम एव आश्रम धर्मिणाम विध अनुष्ठानम. Therefore, padartha avadharana paryantam. So until you know the meaning of word tat and tvam, or asi, unless the meaning of those individual words is known, so long is the need for performing your duty. So, padartha avadharana paryantam eva. Ashrama dharmanam, ashrama dharma. If a brahmachari, grihastha, vanapastha, wherever you are, you must perform the duties which are enjoined for that particular stage of life. How long you should do that? Until you know the meaning of tat and tvam. Then you have to know the meaning of Mahavakya. Tatastu padam tu vakyad avagata brahmatvattasya. Thereafter only when it's told, the Vakya is being told, the Padartha are known by him. Now the Vakyas are known because Vakyas are made up by the Pada or the words. So the meaning of words is known, now the meaning of the sentence will be known to him. Mayedam asmai kartamiti niyojya vishaya prayojana buddhehe anutpattehe. So have you gained the knowledge? Having gained the knowledge, aham brahmasmi, vakyad avagata brahmatmatvam. So one who has known the Brahma, the Atma being woman from the Vakya, Maya edam asmai kartameti. Now, when he is known that I am Brahman, then I have to do this kind of a thought or this kind of a notion cannot arise in him. If I recognize that I am Brahman, I am accomplished. I have accomplished whatever needs to be accomplished. Nothing remains to be accomplished. In that case, any karma which is meant to accomplish suffering has no role. Karma in terms of, daily things are all right, but karma as a means of accomplishing something, which is what we call the nitya karma or karma enjoined for a certain purpose, they have no role now. having gained the knowledge. So maya idam asmi kartavyam. For this purpose, I must do something. Iti niyojya vishaya prayojana buddhehe anutpattehe. And therefore, niyojya vishaya prayojana buddhehe. So niyojya is what is enjoined, vishaya prayojana. So when somebody enjoins an action, then that is a then if the prayojan is known, understood by you. If you see the prayojanam or purpose in doing something, then only when somebody says do this, that you will proceed to do something. Anybody will proceed to do something when that person sees a purpose in doing something. But niyojya vishaya prayojana buddhe anutpattehe. But now, maya idam kartavyam, that thing doesn't rise because all kartavya is over. He says, I am accomplished. And so even if he is told do this, that in fact that vritti does not arise in him that I have to do something because he sees himself as already an accomplished person. Na tasya kvapi viditah pravritti. Therefore, for a wise person, there cannot be pravritti or activity by way of vidhi. He can do any activity that he wants, but you cannot compel him to do something. Kintu sadhak avasthayam abhyastasya nivritti rupasya ashrama dharmasya. So even when he is in given ashram, whatever is nivritti through karma, pravritti and nivritti. Sadhak avasthayam abhyastasya nivritti rupasya ashrama dharmasya. So what is nivritti rupa ashrama dharma? Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasam, that's what he will do. Because all may involve his withdrawal from the activity. So nivritti rupasya ashram dharmasya jnana avirodhinah. So that activity which was doing, which is in accompaniment with Shravanam, Manam, etc., which is quite all right. Samskara matra anubhutir bhavati. So what he was doing in the state of a sadhaka or seeker, those samskaras are there, and so samskaras will continue. And so in case he does something, then also it will be in keeping with what he was doing earlier. As the mukshu, tasya na yathashta chestapya avakasham labhate. So this aspirant now cannot do anything that violates the order because he spent a whole career, a whole life in doing actions that were in keeping with the order as part of karma yoga. That has now served the purpose. So he doesn't need to do anything. The samskaras of doing may be there, so he may still go and do some gardening or something like that. People may be doing some activities. If he is to go and distribute, something to the poor people, he may continue to do that by, because samskaras are there. Not that he needs to do that. So, it's one thing that a person performs action out of compulsion. It's another thing that a person performs action out of pleasure. If he does out of pleasure, it cannot be contradictory to the accepted norms. Iti saram avadatam eva asmat mate. Therefore, in our opinion, everything is in order. nothing can be faulted. Because the action is performed until the padartha jnanam takes place. Once that takes place, only thing that is a role is only in vananam nididhyasanam, and therefore no duties have any role there. In fact, they will become obstacles to him. Then he will give up the karma. And until when he does not give up karma, then also his chesta cannot assess his chesta, it will still be in keeping with the Shruti. Etadeva prapanchation vakyarthodaya prakaram shrautam vyutpadayati. So shrautam vakyartha udaya prakaram. As the Shruti described, vakyartha udaya prakaram. How does the vakyartha, the meaning of the Mahavakya, arise in his mind? So, Shrautam Utpadayati. So, how the Shruti in fact enjoying prescribed or describes the Vakya, how the meaning of the Vakya arises in his mind as described in the Shruti, this is what now is being stated next. Tvamartham pratyagatmanam pasyedatmanamatmani vakyartham tada atmanam sarvam pashyati kevalam पश्येत आत्मानमात्मनि शांतः दान्तः उपरतः तितिक्षुः श्रद्धावित्तो भूत्वा आत्मानम् आत्मनि पश्येत पश्यति और पश्येत. So, having gained this qualification, samadhi shatka sampatti, then one sees oneself in one's own mind. Meaning the self reveals itself in his own mind. Because the mind is mature, and therefore it now becomes a medium for the Atma to reveal its true nature. A distorted mind itself was coming in the way of our recognizing the true nature of ourselves. Isha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotmana prakashade. Kathopanishad says that the Atma doesn't shine its own glory, even though it's very much in my heart. That is because the mind is not ready to reveal the true nature of Atma. When the mind is ready, then Atma reveals its own glory. Pashyet Atmanam Atmani. So when the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, Shanta Dandami Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is there, that mind reveals Atma is always shining. That distorted mind comes in the way of recognizing our essential nature. When the mind becomes the suitable medium for a manifestation of Atma, then you recognize, because you always recognize yourself in your mind, even now. And when the mind is conducive, then you recognize yourself as Brahman. For that you require Shantaha, Dantaha, Uparataha, Titikshu, Samadhi Sampatti. Tvamartham pratyagatmanam pashyet atmanam atmani. So Tvamartham pratyagatmanam. Pratyagatma, which is meaning the word Tvam in the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. Atmanam pashyet atmani. What is meant by the word Tvam? The meaning of Tvam is Atma. One sees that in one's own mind. Vakyatam tata atmanam. Thereafter, so having known the meaning of the word Tvam, then he sees the meaning of the word Tattvamasi. Sarvam pashyati kevalam. Then he sees that what is his Atma. So the next page says, Shantyadi sadhana sampanno bhutva. Atmani Atma bhasa vyapte. स्वकार्य कारण संघातेव न बहि आत्मानं प्रत्यक्षेतयितारं पश्येति श्रुत्यर्थः प्रथमार्धेन उक्तः. सो शांत्यादि साधन संपन्नः पश्येत आत्मानमात्मनि. One sees oneself in one's own mind refers to shantyadi sadhana sampanna. Shantaha dantaha uparataha means one is possessed of this qualification of samadhi shatka sampatti. Shantyadi sadhana sampanno bhutva. First having acquired this qualification. Atmaneva atmanam pashyet. That's what Upanishad. What is Atmani? Atmani eva means Atma abhasa vyapte sakarya karana sangate eva. In one's own self. What is one's own self? This karya karana sangata. This upadi consisting of the gross and subtle body is called karya karana sangata, which is what today I call myself. Which is Atmaneva, Atma abhasa vyapte. This body is not Atma. Mind is not Atma. Right now, that's what I call Atma. Why is this so? Because Atma abhasa vyapte. Because the mind is first pervaded by the reflection of consciousness. In turn, then the body also is enlivened by that mind. Therefore, this body-mind sense complex, the Karyakarana Sanghata, is as though enlivened by the Atma, so is taken to be Atma. So, Atma avasa vyapte swakaryakarana sanghata. So, that is what Atmani means what? Atmani means Atma avasa vyapte. That which is pervaded by the reflection of consciousness, which is this, the complex of gross and subtle bodies. So Atman means within that one sees the Atman, the Bahi. One does not see oneself outside of oneself, one sees oneself within oneself. Which is oneself? That which one thinks is one's Atma. This is the gross and subtle bodies. Atmanam pratyakshete. So Atmani and Atman. Atmani Atmanam pashyed. One Atman is what one thinks as Atma. That's the Karyakarana Sanghata. Atmanam pashyed, the true nature of the Atma. He is pratyakshetaitaram. Atma is innermost, the consciousness that enlivens this body-mind complex, enlivens everything. Iti shrutyartaha prasamadena uktaha. So meaning of that Shruti is what? Pashyada atmanam. That meaning is stated in the first half of the verse 223. Sarvenam pashyaditi. Sarvenam pashyati, that's interesting, So, esha nityo mahima brahmanasya. In that vakya shraddha vetva bhutva atmaneva atmanam pashyet saramenam pashyati. Sarvosya atma bhavati sarvasya atma bhavati. So he sees everything as Atma. Sarvasya Atma, everything becomes his Atma. Sarvasya, he becomes the Atma of all. Everything becomes his Atma. He becomes Atma of all, and therefore he sees everything as Atma. Or he sees everything as Brahman. Sarvam Brahma pashyati shrutyartho darshitaha evam shodhita pratyeka atmanam. So thus one who has now understood the true meaning of the pratyeka atma. We always know pratyeka atma. We know it as Jivatma, Shodhita. Therefore, recognizing that there are all anatma amsha in there, the Karyakarana Sanghata, because the Aham Buddhi has also become part of Atma as though. So when you recognize that as anatma, and then when you do the Viveka, what remains is yourself. Evam Shodhidam Pratyagatmanam. Pratyagatma, that has been thus purified, meaning that with Viveka, Pratyagatma is recognized as Pratyagatma without mixing up Anatma. Sarvam Brahma Pashari Shrutyartho Darshita. So therefore the next sentence, Vakyasam Tata Atmanam Sarvam Pashari Kevalam. So Vakyasam Tata Atmanam Sarvam Pashari Kevalam. He sees the Vakyasa, Tattvamasi, that I am Tat. And Tat is the self of all. You see, Atma is the self of myself, and Tat or Brahma is self of all. So the wise person sees the self as the self of all. Tata Atmanam Sarvam Pashari Kevalam. That means he sees everything as Atma. Saying that Atma is the self of all, that means I am the self of all. So what is I? Iti Shrutyartho Darshitaha. In the second line, that meaning of the Shruti is shown here. So, 225, Upasamharti. 224. Evam Vijñādavakyārthasya vidhigocarata naiva sambhavati. Evam Vijñādavakyārtha. So, Vijñātaha Vakyasya Arthaha Yena Sah Vijñādavakyārtha, one who has known the meaning of the Vakya, Mahavakya, one who has known that I am Brahma. Vidhi gocharata naiva sambhavati. He cannot come in the purview of the Vidhi. Vidhi cannot, gocharam is one who becomes the object. He cannot become the object of Vidhi anymore, one who has known oneself as Brahman. Itiyaha, that is what is said in the verse 224. Sarvamatme iti vakyarthe Vijñāte sya pramanatah asatve hyanyamanasya vidhistam yojayet katham. Sarva atma iti vakyarthe vijñāte pramanatah. By the pramana, that tattvamasi, you are Brahman, you are the self of all, that is pramana, that is the vakya that reveals the nature of yours. That is called pramana, which reveals the nature of reality. So, the vakya that reveals the nature of reality by yourself is the pramana here. That you are Brahman, you are the self of all. Saramatme di vakyate vijñāte. You are the self of all, or you are all. Iti vakyarthe vijñāte. When that meaning of the vakya is known, pramanata, on the strength of what the Shruti says, that hey, you are Brahman. I see the fact that I am Brahman because I have trust in that vakya. So I am able to negate what my mind says that I am not Brahman. That comes from avividya, aviveka. Asatvehi anyamanasya. Other than Shruti, there is nothing else to tell you that you are limited. Upanishad says you are Brahma. Now nothing else says that you are Jiva. Your mind said you are Jiva, which was a Brahma. It is not a reality about yourself. So the Brahma is eliminated by the knowledge that I am Brahman. Now there is nothing to in fact contradict that knowledge. This is knowledge of reality. There is now nothing to contradict the knowledge that I am Brahman. Vidhistam yojet katham, means that I am complete. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat krutakrutyasya bharata. So knowing this, one becomes krutakritya. Krutam krutyam. Then where is the question of something remaining to be done? So, vidhistam yojayet katham. How can any vidhi even enjoin him? Even if enjoyment cannot engage him into activity. Even if he is told, he doesn't respond. Brahmano yajeta, I don't think I'm a Brahmana, therefore I will not respond to that statement. The vidistam yojet katham. So vidhi, any kind of an enjoyment, any kind of an adesha, any kind of an order, always addresses some specific person. That you, otherwise the things don't get done. So when you want something to get done, you must make sure that the right person is being told. And therefore here if Shruti wants something to be done, the right person should be told. That a Brahmana should do this, Kshatriya should do that. Who will respond? One who thinks that I am a Brahmana or a Kshatriya. One who has become free from the notion doesn't respond to that statement. Tasmat vakyartha vijnanat urdhvam. Therefore, after, no. Asatvehi anyamana. That is what we are. Vidistam yojet katham. Anyamanasya. Now there is nothing to negate what he knows. That I am Brahman. Nothing else there to negate. Nobody says you are not Brahman. Nobody ever said it also. I always kept on declaring myself I am not Brahman. Not that anybody else told me. And so now that I know I am Brahman, there is nothing to tell me that you are not Brahman. So, asatva anyamanasya, if there was a pramana which says that you are inadequate, that you must do something to become adequate, but there is nothing else that says that. Vidistam yojet katham. How can any vidhi, prompt him to do anything? Because he has become free from that very notion which should have prompted him to do something. Vakyartha vijnanat prageva vidhigocharata. No, videha avakasham labante. Vidhi means any enjoyment by the Shruti have a scope before the person has known his true nature. The urdhvam. Now I won't do it. I did it so far. Sometimes children tell, I did it so far. I won't do it now. Because I had some notion about myself and so you took advantage of that. You took advantage of me all this time, but no more. So Shruti as though takes advantage. Do this, do that, and he responds. Now realize I am Brahman, therefore, so vakyad vijnana prageva vidya avakasham labante. With your enjoyment have scope until the person has known the meaning of the Mahavakya. No urdhvam, not after that. You see. So verse 225 says, Tasmad vakyartha vijnanad nordhvam karma vidhir bhavet nahi brahmasmi karteti viruddhe bhavato diyo. Tasmad vakyartha vijnanat urdhvam. Therefore, after the knowledge of the Mahavakya has taken place, karma vidhi na bhavet. Karma vidhi, the vidhi of enjoining the karma, has no scope now. Nahi brahmasmi. That I am Brahman on one hand and karta. See, for me to do karma requires the notion that I am karta, the agent of action. Before speaking, I must become a speaker, then only speaking takes place. Must become eater, then only eating takes place. Until then, come on, eat. It doesn't respond because the eater does not arise in him. So when you are able to invoke in him the eater, then the person eats. So also when you invoke the karta within this person, then the karma takes place. When I know I am Brahman, the karta does not arise. And therefore, nahi brahmasmi kartayate viruddhe bhavato dhiyo. Viruddhe dhiyo. Aham Brahman is one dhi and aham karta is other dhi. They are all viruddha. This contradictory understanding cannot arise in the same buddhi at the same time. Therefore, there is a scope for the vidhi until knowledge takes place. No urdhvam, not after the knowledge, that the vidhi has any scope. So, all karma, the idea is that parisankhyanam. So that was the thing which is karma and that is being denied here. So not only that, but no other karma or vidhi applies to the wise person. Okay, we'll continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om